right, y'all. Hey, we're back. Episode 2 of KBN Live After Hours here with Ryan. And as you can see, we're missing Shane. He is dealing with a weather issue and some things down the coast. So, hope everybody down there is all right. And down at the bottom of the screen, you see our special guest, Richard Penny, operations man for KBF. Richard, thanks for coming on with us, man.
Hey, man, appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, we're going to cut to the chase, Ryan, huh?
Now.
We got Richard here. There's some news dropped on KBF today. So, Richard, you want to jump in there and kind of explain what went down and what went into that?
Well, this thing all kind of spun out, I guess, as the Bella Vista results were getting posted. Some concerns about, fifth and sixth place, fish measurements here and there. And so we just went and looked, rejudged it, kind of looked at the fish for the fifth and sixth person. And then as this thing was kind of going on in the background, what we couldn't see on the KBF side was people posting about, I just blatantly Bree Carpenter and things she had done in other events. So as that thing kind of just gained speed and momentum throughout the course of a, day and 24-hour period, it became clear to high rate of speed. Look, we've got to investigate. So that's what we did. It's, we've taken our time with it, did not get in a rush, did not feel like leaving it up to the court of public opinion was the right thing to do. Picked a good panel with a variety of, I guess, mindsets in there, law enforcement, and obviously Bree being female, we wanted to have a female panel member as well, somebody that was an experienced angler at the same time. So we picked what I felt was a quality panel that gave us a good broad spectrum of opinion and not just hard to one side or the other. So they took their time with it. Got the results to myself. I got that. I ginned it up, tapped it up, made it all look all nice and pretty for Chad and Joe, have them weigh in on it, and got it over to them, and they concurred with the panel's thought process. And the panel's thought process was the evidence was overwhelming. They did not bother to interview Bree. They didn't feel like they needed to based on that evidence of, more than 7 events, and so it was just that, use a military term, that pattern of misconduct or that continued pattern of just doing stuff that kind of, made the decision process, I guess, for them relatively easy. So that's kind of that's the outside of it. I mean, specifics on it, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that happened on KBN, and I think that's the fortunate piece of this forum is, while that whole thing, I think, probably on a personal level got a little bit out of hand, the reality is, you have Ryan sitting there laughing,
yeah, a little bit.
But at the same time, that's what led to this thing being done, right? And it's that communication piece. And I think somewhere along the way, probably in the past couple of years, specifically, that we've lost some of that. We need to get back to everybody. Hey, it's okay. You got these issues. Pick up the phone, send a text, whatever. Yeah, we may not need to blast somebody on KBF proper, but we definitely need to know.
Sure. And going into kind of talking about that, I hope I fixed the echo. Y'all let me know if I didn't.
That's good on my end.
Okay. But this page kind of started as a result of some voices that we, myself, Ryan, some other guys had some voices, had some opinions that weren't too popular that we wanted out there. And some of that even spun out of control, but here we are with a lot of people kind of shared that same idea.
Yeah.
And so listening to you, it sounds like
it's got a place. And
some good stuff came out of some of the things people brought up.
Absolutely. Jeff, you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and I think it did. And that for me, it's that happy moment of, okay, here's the community doing the right things, right voice at the right time, at the right at the right place. So I think it worked out. I'm sure there are other people that may argue about some of the, about the results. Maybe, I don't know. But it took a little bit longer than I think I really wanted it to. But at the end of the day, we've gotten to the right place. So
I don't know if there's much argument to be had on the. I mean, I understand, of course, you're going to appeal or ask for another look, but I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I think it's not like it happened once. It wasn't an accident. Like it was,
right.
you know.
Well, yeah, you know, and to speak to that, when you look at, hey, the monthly stuff, really, the way it was done is pretty easy to do when you've got multiple judges. Brad Oswald earlier kind of made a comment. I was either on KBN's page or KBS, but it was like, hey, how does this happen? Well, when you got two judges that in their spare time over the course of a month are judging fish, and you've got an angler that submits 10 and fish number 3 or whatever and number 6, you know, that can happen, and the position's different, the lighting's different. They're thinking, well, if it's an identical fish, Tourney X is probably going to top that. Well, that's really not what's working in Tourney X that way, especially when the fish is manipulated and the measurements are not the same, that whole thing. So there's a lot of little things we're going to, you know, we've already started tweaking on our end from a judge's perspective. Dwayne's gone out, you know, publicly made sure on his page that all the judges, regardless whether or not the KBF clowns or not, hey, look, this is not what the system does, right? I think there's been some misnomer in that, but you know, it's one of those things when you got 14 to 32 minutes in between fish submissions on some, and you know, somebody thought, hey, there was a Sharpie dot on the tail, which was not the case. It was actually reflection. Thank God for Adobe products. But you know, there are a lot of those things out there. But those, once again, I go back to Jeff, what you mentioned. Had it not been for the forum and this kind of thing going on, I don't know that this would have popped up.
Well, that's great. I mean, David Cruz, a buddy of mine on here, he always he fronts out the name KBN, Department of Justice. So maybe it worked this time.
Hey, you know, occasionally you want, well, squirrel finds a nut, right? We're all good.
Right.
And fortunately, and that's the thing, you know, it's one of those deals. I'm like, hey, I'm happy I'm on here because it afforded me the opportunity to see it. I mean, Nick was like, hey, are you catching what's going on KBN? I'm like, ironically, yeah, I just responded, you know, and if I don't catch something, you know, Ryan's been really good about reaching out and saying, hey, something you may want to look at. So, you know, obviously I appreciate the feedback. I think that's the only way we get better as a community, is being able to have that open dialogue and discussion. Right, wrong, and different. Everybody's got one opinion or another. But I think if that common goal is the same, then we win.
Yeah. And I'd like to say, you know, I know you and Nick have been on this page for a while, and KBF's caught a little hell over you know, sometimes, and you guys have engaged and been in there and you know, haven't got offended or you know, got out of hand with that, and it's been constructive. So we appreciate you being in there and being a part of the group.
Yeah, that's that thing too. You know, look, at the end of the day, unless you start attacking, you know, maybe, you know, like my kids, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we're good. I mean, it's not personal. I don't want to say it's business, but I mean, this is what we do. It's that sport that we're in. So it is constructive feedback, you know? And when you got to, sometimes you got to step back from everything else going on and realize it's just that, you know, everybody's got a different way of presenting their opinions, but you know, they are what they are, and you got to take it, listen to it, and move forward.
So what's happening? What's happening moving forward with KBF? Like, what are you guys looking at for 2019?
So for 2019, yeah. So right now, I mean, kind of where we're at with, you know, there's been a lot. We're changing up the regional or the format for the trail series, which I'm pretty excited about because this has come off of a lot of feedback from anglers and clubs throughout the U.S. So we're going to divide the regions up. The tournament directors have been sent kind of what the regional layout looks like. Texas, of course, is its own region. Just because it's like one big ass managed fishery. So we've got the 5 regions laid out. We're going to put a regional director in there. And I say director, it's not meant to be a dictator. It's just the guy, you know, the one person in the region that's going to coordinate with the tournament directors inside of that region. But they're going to have 5 events each. And those 5 events, your top 3 finishes in your region will lead to your AOY points. Excuse me, that crown does taste good on the way up as it does going down. But so you've got the, you know, your top 3 AOY, your events will count for your AOY points per region. Okay. And then that'll lead you to your regional championship. The regional championship will fill the trail series championship. And that's going to be in La Crosse, early October timeframe. So
now, is online going to play a part anymore in the AOY?
No, well, not in that. The trail series is the trail series. So, I mean, to me, you want to see the legitimate piece of the way this community works or the way the series works. You want to be competitive on a tournament basis. It's going to be on the trail series, right? Because you're going to get your top anglers out of each region that are going to qualify to go to the trail championship. And that's where you're going to get your good payout there. The national championship, I mean, Chad and I talked about this, and I think everybody just needs to recognize it. It says national championship, and yeah, it's going to say national champion, but it's a spectacle. I mean, that just is what it is. It's an opportunity for sponsors and all these different people, you know, to get together, hold a big ass event, throw a bunch of money in the pot so we can, you know, so we can get some people some good money for fishing. But that's not going to be crowning your consistent, just badass sticks. I mean, I think that's going to be the trail series. That's what that's going to go to. And if all plays out, I think the way Chad and I discussed this, and Joe's obviously weighed in a little bit too with his experience, but the idea is, you know, 2020, we can break this up and say, okay, here's the trail series, and whether it stays in 5 regions or we expand to whatever, based on, you know, feedback and input from 2019, you know, then you may see the pro side and the amateur side break off. They'll fish the same events. They'll be, you know, run on the same system, but the payouts, you know, the payouts for one's going to go to that one. The payouts for the other are going to go to, you know, their entry fees are going to go to the payouts on each one of them. But that's kind of the direction we're looking at as we run, you know, look to that vision of 2020, but obviously want to pull some quality shit off in 2019.
Nice.
And, you know, and that is kind of the deal with this is, you know, you look at, we had 42 trail events this year, and those 42 trail events, I think they were good in the way of they educated us a lot in the fact that it was just too damn many. You know, especially, you know, guys in the Southeast. I mean, if, you know, by the month of April, you know, May and June, guys are like, dude, I'm broke. I can't fish another event for like another 2 months. You've had too much shit, you know? I mean, that's just the reality.
It sounds like you guys are going to reward the guys that fish quality rather than just the guys that fish a lot.
Yep.
Which makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and like I said, look, I don't, you know, I've joked around about this for a while. It's not like I sit here in my house sipping Crown coming up with these great ideas. Much like everything else, it's just feedback. You know, hey, this is what we'd like to see happen. That's the thing I like about, you know, actually getting out and going to events is because I do get a lot of feedback from guys.
Good.
And gals. You know, can't
so what's happening at Toledo Bend? I know a lot of people got emails last night saying, you know, you've got the opportunity to fish at Toledo Bend. So there's the
so you've got an event. I mean, like the trail series, I believe is, and that's Joe sent that stuff out. He's kind of handling that side of the house, but that's just people that are, you know, I can't make it, so they're just rolling down that slot inside of each state.
There's a top 100, right? There's a top 100, and then there's a tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got the 100, kind of like what we did last year at Toledo Bend, where you had the Open and you had the 100. You have them going on at the same time. Some anglers competed in both because they qualified.
Instead this year, that the Open, the other tournaments capped at 300. Is that right?
I believe so.
I think it said something like 300. I just wanted to know. I know a lot of people
probably did.
Everybody got emails.
I think if that thing hits 200, it'll be a good day. I mean, in all honesty, that's kind of my, you know, hey, if Rich got his way, it'd be 200 and it'd stop right there. Just based on I know how TourneyX performs when you start, you know, loading its ass up with 35 minutes left to go before final submission cutoff and gross overall number of anglers and that kind of thing. So,
right. Well,
that makes sense.
We appreciate the update there. I hope you stay on with us through the rest of this. We're gonna go through a couple little fun things we like to do here. Next, we're gonna talk about some of the posts that came up during the week on KBN. First one here, Ryan, you can talk on it. Shane's not on here, but what in the world happened with this guy and his truck, trailer, and everything else back down into the water?
We met him. We met him at the tournament Saturday morning, and we were launching. It was like, I don't know, it was early, and he backed his truck in, and his boat just floated off. So, being the nice guy that I am, of course, I went and got it for him. Brought his truck back. Well, one of my buddies texted me the very next morning. It's the same guy, and he apparently backed his truck all the way down into the water. You can see him in the picture, like he's still in the truck, like 30 yards out into the lake. I have no idea what happened there.
bizarre? On purpose or just an idiot?
I mean, he's a Hobie guy. He's just trying to get in the water. You know how they do.
I'm going to put this next one up here. Now, this poll went up a few days ago talking about online leaderboards, and it was kind of split on the on for part of the day. How do y'all feel about that? I mean, what's KBF's stance on that? When do you guys turn it off?
That's varied. It's been based on feedback. I like turning that thing off an hour prior to, but sometimes we've just left it up to the tournament directors. What does everybody local want to do? And Chad's at times has said, "Hey, just leave it up." So I just left it up to the tournament director. My personal deal, if I'm doing a tournament, we'll shut it off about an hour beforehand.
I got you. Ryan, what do you got? I like it off. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I like it on. It makes me fish harder. I like knowing what I got to do to pull it off at the end. I mean, I usually keep a pretty good eye on it, and it helps me kind of fish harder. One of the best tournaments that I've ever been a part of was the KBF Trail in Gunnersville earlier this year with me and one of my good buddies. I mean, we could see each other across the lake, and we could watch tourney eggs, and we were culling up like a quarter inch, a half inch at a time, just going back and forth all day, and that was awesome. That's hard to beat.
That does
Do you
make
need
it
like
fun.
a live feed set up on yours, like an iPad?
Yeah, well, I have one because all my buddies that are commenting away right now were texting the entire time, so I had a lot of pressure, and I buckled under it, and he won the tournament, so it was great.
All right. Well, next we're going to talk about some tournaments that went down here recently and some upcoming events. This past weekend in Arkansas, we had our Arkansas State Championship. That was won by Cole Sykes, who's the Northwest Arkansas Angler of the Year. He had 2 great days, put up 171 total inches on Bull Shoals and North Fork combined, 85 and 85 and a half or 86, over 2 days there. Not known real nationally, Cole isn't, but he's a hammer, and as he gets out there on more of the national scene, I'm sure you guys will see him show up. Now, Ryan, you fished Fishing for Soldiers, yeah? Yeah,
that was a good event. It was a charity event. They ran it. It was out of Lenore City, but it was to benefit like the Smoky Mountain Service Dogs was the big charity that it went to benefit. But it was a great tournament, and you could fish Chickamauga, Watts Bar. What was it? There were 2 other lakes up around Knoxville. But anyway, you could fish like 4 different lakes. They have a bass boat division and a kayak division. Shane came up and spent the weekend up here, and we, of course, hit Chickamauga. I was lucky enough to pull off second in that. But the guy that won it, Ben Smith, I think he beat me by about 4 inches, which is fine because he had to take that wrapped Hobie home. I got the cash. So nice. He did great. He was in the back of the slough. Shane and I were in the front of the slough. We were all catching fish. It was a good time for a good cause.
And then coming up, we've got at the end of this month, TOC down in Texas and the Lone Star Throwdown. I know we're going to try to have Duke on next week, the Hammer, to talk about that stuff. And then, Richard, you guys have stuff coming up here at the end of October, yeah?
Yeah, we've got the end on the Bend at Toledo Bend, and I'm looking forward to getting down there. I mean, I'm cheating. I'm leaving. If I can get out of here on Friday, I'm going to roll into Houston, go watch maybe a Astros game or 2 while there, and then I'm gonna sneak up to Rayburn, do a little fishing before I head over to Toledo Bend. So it's gonna be a good event. Toledo Bend's it's a great place. It's a great fishery. I love being there. And for those that are concerned about the Matt Scotch factor, he's not going to be there fishing. So we are not going to be contributing to the Matt Scotch fund this year, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Somebody else going to get their name on the hat.
I'm too worried he's going to be locked in at TOC because that's where I'll be.
Yeah, well, exactly. You need to be sweating that one because guaranteed.
So I think the Georgia State Championship is coming up this weekend too. I know I got a ton of screenshots when I woke up this morning. There was apparently some drama in the Georgia area. One of the local guides, he's got a thing where he likes to try to go in and sore lip all the fish before they have their state championship. He threatened to do it again this year, and I think there were some words exchanged back and forth. Offered to meet up at boat ramps and whatnot. It's pretty wild down there.
I think I saw that thread last night. That was what that was about.
Yep, that was it.
That was it. Okay, yeah, that got a little bit ugly.
Yeah, that stays ugly. That's always a little fire burning. Just needs some gas poured on it.
Going down here, this was brought up last week in the comments, and we didn't really get to talk about it. Um, One of the guys, I can't remember who said it, but they asked about the kayak market in general, kayak bass fishing market, I guess, for fishing kayaks. Is it oversaturated? Is there too many companies getting in there? What's the future of certain brands? What do you think? You're heavily involved with Native, Ryan. Richard, you're with Jackson, is that right?
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about all that?
It is the fastest growing, sector of the sport, but it kind of weeds itself out. Everybody tries to come up with their own little spin on a product, but in the end, you kind of see the separation. You'll see companies' stock go up, some become less popular once a new wears off and people actually buy them. I think it's going to sort itself out. I don't know that it's oversaturated, but I think some particular kind of price points in the market are oversaturated. I think if it would drive a little more kind of advancement and growth instead of just trying to come up with the same thing that somebody else has, in my opinion. What do you think, Richard?
Yeah, Ryan, I'd agree with you. I think a lot of this is going to sort itself out, and I think it's going to sort itself out here in the next 12 to 24 months, to be honest with you. I know on Jackson's end, you start to look at what they're doing now. They've got this new bite that's coming out, which is going to be that, sub $1,000, $999, spot, and it's a nice little boat, and so I think as you see these guys, and I say these guys, all the different manufacturers figure out where that niche piece is, as the analytics and everything all develop and stats just say this is where you need to be. I think you're going to see that, and I actually think you're going to see a departure where I think you're going to see companies like Jackson and maybe a few others that are going to go dedicated angler boat, where, okay, everybody's played around with the fishing, with the fishing kayak. Now we're actually going to get serious, and you're going to see a lot of input from the team guys where, listen, are you finally going to listen to us? This is the shit we want. Don't give me this little scupper that's the size of this right here, so I can put a damn, down imaging frickin' transducer in it. That, by the way, has a sharp point that's going to poke a hole in my scupper. That's never happened to me. But, so side imaging and all the other stuff, I think that's where we're headed. And I think it's going to be a lot of input from the tournament guys or the anglers that are out fishing every weekend and fishing, pretty hard. So
I think it's funny that, it seemed like an arms race for a minute to get the biggest, baddest, most expensive boat. And now you see all these companies coming in with the entry-level price point, trying to drop that number down. So I'm sure it'll be somewhere in the middle by the time it all settles.
Yeah, and I think that's the case. I think you're gonna watch. You go back to ICAST this year. You see new platforms coming out. You've got the 360 angler, and there's a couple others. I don't even remember the name. But it's the same idea. It's the pontoon, version. And crap. There's people that are talking. They want to start. Hey, can we get into kayak tournaments with a float tube? These are the things I have to deal with on a weekly basis. But I think it's just going to continue the market's going to continue to suck itself down to where it is self-sustaining, and then I think you're going to weed out the smaller companies that are just in it, quickly. And hey, what kind of product from China can we throw on the shelf?
Right. Next couple things, we're talking about Kayak Bass Nation get-togethers. We're trying to put a crew together down at the National Championship in Shreveport, the KBF National Championship, have a little meet-up, and then we're working on something of our own. No real updates on that yet, but we are trying to make it happen. Ryan, you got anything down in Shreveport that you've been able to discover yet?
So I got a couple buddies that duck hunt down there. They're supposed to be rounding up a couple local bars that might be able to support our crowd.
I know we talked about a little casino nights
on duty, and yeah, it should be a good time. We're gonna find us somewhere to settle in down there. Richard, you're more than welcome to come join.
Oddly enough, you and I seem to find each other. Fall into a bar. Well, hey, what are you doing here?
Great minds think.
I see what you're doing here. Okay, I got to go. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh, I like Derek's comment. Bring bail money. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Someone needs to be responsible for that.
Good. Let me know who that is.
Yeah. Christy's in charge of that, I think.
Oh yeah, we're good.
If you guys that are watching, throw some questions in the comments here. Last week we didn't leave enough time really to get to some of that, so I'm going to scroll back through and try to find some. But go ahead and ask Richard, Ryan, myself, whatever, any questions that you have.
Yeah, one of the things I saw earlier, and I'll just jump in on it. So one of the things that we are doing for this 2019 piece is each region. The idea is that we get the schedule knocked out here real soon, so it doesn't interfere with local clubs. So I know Duke has jammed that out, and everybody in Texas. James Snyder, the guys out there in California, have taken care of that already. And then I know Justin Hauser's working it on his side. Jason Adams is going to do the Southeast. So I think we're going to get there. Oh yeah, and Derek, Derek's going to handle the Central. So I think we're going to get there. I think this is probably going to be the best coordinated year for everybody's trails, so that we're not interfering with one another. And I know communication, man, it's a novel effing thought, right?
Hey, Jim Clark wants to know if there's a big bass pod at Toledo Bend. Richard, do you have any idea on that?
Yes. Well, I would say right now there's always going to be a big bass pod if we got anything to do with it. So yeah, we'll have one.
I don't know why he's worried about big bass pod. I'm sure he goes catch a big bass.
You beat me to that statement. I was like, he's welcome to donate. I mean, it's not a problem.
Somebody paid him to ask that.
Yeah, probably.
Preston Harris commented on here, the Chucktown Kayak Bass Championship is November 17th in Charleston, South Carolina, if any of you guys are near there. Farron Davidson, he said you should be able to fish out of bumper boats. I don't know about all that.
Kevin Baxter wants to know if he has to have a jersey to fish. No, man, your fishnet tank top, just show up. We're fine with it.
Do we stop at wife beaters? I don't even know. I mean, where did we draw the line? Where is that line drawn?
We're good with wife beaters. You can't call them wife beaters anymore, but we're fine with it.
Oh, man, see, there you go. You'd think I'd know that living in California.
And Richard, while you're on here, do you think we could get a charity invite for David Cottrell? Is that a thing?
Oh, for David? To which event?
For the national championship. We need our boy to qualify. We're working hard.
So what when you say charity, I mean, do we need to hand him fish? Do we need to take him out with a Barbie pole? I mean,
if you can just let him submit the same fish about 4 or 5 times in his state challenge would be great.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to go fish. Here, check this shit out. I got a plan. Here's this. He needs to go fish the Brazos with Matt. Just stay down there for a week. He can take care of it right there. He enters the iCatch Fall Bass Brawl. Because how hard is that thing going to be to win? I mean, really. He
enters the what? The what Fall Bass? What was that?
No, the Fall Bass Brawl we got going on that other software.
Ah, yeah. iCatch. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm listening. Hopefully he's listening good. We just got his plan laid out for him. We'll get him taken care of.
Is that app work now?
Well, yes, it works. They actually got the Android aspect fixed, so it's working across all platforms. Scary as that may seem.
That Android app will take care of the 5 users out there.
Yeah. This Android thing's about, but I mean, someone's like, "How did you not know it didn't work on Android?" I said, "Because I'm not a communist. That's not what I use." And so
easy now, boys. I'm an Android guy.
Of course you are, Joe.
One out of 3.
Yeah.
Hard to beat Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
What's up with the future of iCatch and KBF? That's an excellent effing question. Yes, I said hire Scotch. That's exactly what I said to Josh. So here's the deal. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. I know Dwayne's on here. We don't, we're not tied to any system. I mean, at the end of the day, Dwayne and I have talked about this at length. We're gonna go with. We may go with one system. We may go with a variety of systems. I don't think the Trail Championship or any of the trail stuff next year is going to go on iCatch, to be honest with you. We're looking at a couple of different.
The national championship going to be on iCatch?
We don't know yet. That's something we've got to work out with Dwayne. That that's between Chad and Dwayne. I'm not the one writing that check, so that's not on my end. But it's whatever it is. I don't, like I said, I don't think it's going to be. I couldn't see it being iCatch today. If someone said you're going to do iCatch today, I'd say no.
Is that just to jump on that? Is that a dollars and cents thing or a functionality thing or both?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, less on the functionality thing. Dwayne's worked really hard over the course of this year. We had some issues at the national championship, but fortunately, the way we had things set up, it didn't affect anything that we did, which was nice. But he's got some lessons learned out of that he's already taken care of with servers and his service. How they had the server split and stuff. So I think he's got that done. We're gonna know real well here at Toledo Bend just with gross numbers alone.
So is that going to be announced before? I know there's a deadline for when the price goes up on paying for the national championship. Do you know if it's going to be announced which platform it's going to be on before people have to pay?
I think that's the goal. Just in my brief conversations with Chad about it, I'd rather just get it. Hey, here's what we're going to do and get it out in public. That way, everybody knows. And either the revolt or the celebration. Think Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, burning Darth Vader, and Ewoks celebrating and shit. I don't know, whatever. But you get the idea. I want to get it over with as soon as we can. That's a conversation Dwayne and Chad need to have at some juncture. So.
Yeah, and as Dwayne's got a bunch of it's more than just a service. He's got a bunch of fans and friends in this deal. So I know you guys are riding that line there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, Dwayne and I are friends. I mean, hell, I talked to Dwayne before this. We put this brawl thing up for on iCatch. I let him know, hey, look, by the way, we're doing this, just so he was aware. But he and I talk regularly, and he and I are friends. And regardless of what the relationship with KBF proper and Tourney X is, as two businesses, that friendship's going to stay that way. And my intent is to support Dwayne. As much as we can, but at some point, it's going to be a dollar and cents thing, and Dwayne knows that. Dwayne knows kind of the target area we're shooting at to develop a good price model for KBF moving forward. And so that stuff's all out on the table. I mean, there's no secrets between, Tourney X and KBF on that. So I like it. For me, it's easy, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But we're not. I don't. What I don't want to do is, have what happened at the end of last year, have a social media frickin' festival, one after another kind of thing. Just it's something these guys are going to work out together from a business perspective and move forward.
All right, so I've just got to step in here and address these jackasses. This is not the same beer. I've got up and walked to the fridge to get the same beer. There's sitting a green screen behind me. Wherever I walk, this background is going to stay the same. It's going to be Jim, the love of his life, and Shane, no matter where I go. I've got another beer. Don't worry, folks.
That's awesome.
Well, I don't see much more from the gallery here. I don't know what he added it. KBN crew versus KBF crew. I don't even know what that means.
I was about to ask that same question. What does that mean?
Half the people in here fish KBF. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. Either.
Can you clear that up for us, Preston Harris, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Maybe we can play basketball. Part of the basketball challenge.
Basketball now.
Yeah.
Hey, now that may not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to come officiate if you want to. Me and Shane and a mystery guest are going to be playing Jeff's whole family.
We'll be throwing bows all day long at you guys.
Nice. Oh man, yeah. So any other crazy questions from the KBF side? I think we got it figured out as much as I can.
All right.
I love the iCatch atrocious. Yeah.
Oh, they want to have a tournament. Preston wants a tournament.
That still
KBF. And well, how are we going to?
That still doesn't make sense.
Loyalists? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to tell you, that's always the entertaining part is the number of guys that complain on one and then are happy on the other. It cracks me up.
Hey, Bo Reed chimed in and asked what's going down in Texas this year. Is there going to be a Texas region for the trail?
Is Bo not listening? Bo, did you just like get online?
He might have.
Yes. Bo, Texas is its own
He
region.
could have.
He probably did. Yeah. Texas is its own region, man.
And
So
just to give y'all a little.
I'm excited about this whole Texas thing.
Well, who did you say? Did you say who was running Texas yet? I don't want.
Yeah, Duke
Okay.
is direction. Yeah, regional direction.
Duke the Fly Camel Tran is going to be running Texas. So Bo, shoot Duke a text, shoot him a selfie, and he'll tell you all about what's going down in Texas.
Yep. He's got the dial up. Yeah, probably.
All right.
So the guy went up and he said he wanted a tournament KBN moderators versus KBF leaders. So you down for that, Richard? You and Chad and Joe? I don't know.
Are we fishing?
Oh man, hey, we can fish a stock pond. We can go at it. Let's do it.
Well, that's the thing, man. Because if we're fishing a stock pond, I have no interest in it.
I got some Senkos out here.
Yeah, I understand. No shit. The other one is, listen, man, that's not fair because Joe's not. Does everybody get a weak stick? Because if that's the case, I'll take Joe.
Oh, we got Shane.
Ooh.
That's true. Yeah. Can we put them against each? I mean, maybe we do that. Maybe we sit on the side and we coach.
If we could do 1-on-1, we'll pair up. I'll take Chad. You can take Richard. Shane and Joe.
Yeah, Shane and Joe.
Christy and Ashley.
Yeah, then what we need to do though as well is we need to go, KBN after hours, daylight hours, or something. Come up with a good craft name and do commentary on the water.
That'd be
Deal. So
I mean, we just roll by doing interviews. Hey, dude, did you just miss that fish? You suck. I mean, you could just start right there.
all right, is that it? We good?
That's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Richard, thank you so much for coming on here. It was a good night. We had around 90, 95 people watching the whole time, so it was a good turnout. And this video, I'm sure, will be watched after the deal. But maybe we can have you back on here sometime. That was fun.
Anytime, man.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. We appreciate it, man.
All right. You guys be good.